What's happening, YouTube? This is going to be the Loki episode 5 spoiler Easter egg Geek Fest review. I'm sure the fellas will be popping in here in a few minutes, but for right now, you got me. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All the good things going on in Loki and Marvel. And I have a studio audience in here. I've got my daughter and I've got my mom, and I got my wife in here. Al, you want to go say something to the people since you're a little Marvel baby? Come on, baby. Oh, well, I guess she's going to be shy for the moment. But ladies and gentlemen, Larry, One Take Big Dog, B. Avery, Just My Opinions is going to be in here. And for now, this is my road dog. Say, hey, L. Say hey to the Marvel people. Yeah, that's you. Whoa, girl, that's you. That's you. But look right there. Who is that? Mommy, daddy, baby. Baby Shuri, Superwoman Mama, and me, Bat Black, Lamont. Oh, Tressa C said, hello, my fellow Cancer L. Yeah. Can you believe, Tressa C, that this Friday will be a whole year I've had this baby? A whole year. I can hardly believe it. It's unbelievable. It's been that quick. And here we go. All right, baby. We got to get you out of here. And as we wait for the rest of the crew to get into the building, let me just shout out Tressa C, who's been following this channel, doing good things with her stock market. John Doe, who's got to watch us live. I appreciate that, mama homie. Key Malik, Kelly Lee, Monique Johnson, Sloppy Ninja, IMAX is in the building. Good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? So far, we've got 14 in the building. It'd be real nice if I can get all 14 of you guys to like the video. And Dean XP is in the building. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off right. And let me give you one of my favorite scenes from this episode of Loki, which had a whole lot of Easter eggs. And I'm going to try to get to most of them as we break down things that went on. Here we go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, probably my favorite character that we've never seen before was the OG Loki who popped up this time. Yeah, baby, that's us. That's us. We're talking. OG Loki came up and he helped save the day. By the end of the whole thing, he was the hero that sacrificed himself so that these Lokis can continue going. When we first got into this whole thing, we had them opening up with basically Sylvie talking to Ravonna, put it on you. And Ravonna put it on you was under assault by Sylvie because Sylvie wanted to know what the hell, how the hell can I get back to my boo Loki? All right. And Ravonna, for a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, Ravonna had me fooled. I'm sitting up here thinking, okay, Ravonna is actually going to be down for the team. She done realized they done lied about the TVA. We about to get it popping. And next thing I know, bam, we find out Ravonna is lying. And one thing that was interesting that they did as an Easter egg, the title of this particular show itself was an Easter egg. Journey into Mystery. Title of the episode. This was the first time Loki appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Journey into the Mystery. And this is when you saw him and Loki facing off, having a little, that was the first inkling of when you would see kind of the sibling rivalry that these two would have throughout their history in this comic book run. Then we also get this, they're panning in, and Marvel, when there's a lot of chaos, a lot of drama, they use the upside down cinematography to highlight all the crazy chaos that's going on within the MCU. You guys seen it with Black Panther. You guys have seen it with Thor. You're seeing it here with Loki. And we had a scene like that where they had chaos going on in the Falcon Winter Soldier series. So you've gotten all of that going on. And as we're getting through the episode, we find out that Loki lands in a place called the Void. And here is what I thought was Avengers Tower, which it looks like Avengers Tower. But do you see the writing on the wall that says Coing? That is a company owned by Kang. So Marvel keeps throwing in all these Easter eggs that we're going to get Kang the Conqueror that's going to have something to do with this storyline. Now, when we get close to the end of this review, I'll talk about how I think Kang fits into this whole storyline. But do I think Kang is the man at the end of the TVA? Nope. You guys have been hearing me say for a long time, I think that what you're going to have is the Beyonder pulling the string. And ladies and gentlemen, my big homie, who's got some hot takes he's going to talk about tonight. It's the One Take Big Dog. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm hanging tough, man. I got in here a little earlier than all the other fellas, but it's always a fun time to talk about Marvel.
Yeah. Yes,
and ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with this man, he puts out great content on YouTube. His link is in my video description. Be sure to go and break bread with this brother, share some subscriberships with this brother, and we're going to get it in. So One Take, I just basically started out by just talking about how the title of this particular episode was Journey into Mystery. And it was also the first time Loki appeared in the Marvel comic books. Did you and B. Avery cover that on you guys' show?
I actually did not see that. I think I saw this, I want to say this morning, the title, but we didn't cover it today.
Yep, so you had that going. And one thing that we talked about that I didn't get your opinion on was when Marvel shows this upside down and they use this as a metaphor going into their stories. What does that mean to you, One Take? You've seen it in Thor, you've seen it in Black Panther, now you're seeing it again here with Loki series. So when you've seen them do the upside down cinematography, tell the people what it has meant to you.
To be honest, I think it felt like a change in power. Because I'm thinking back to the moment in Black Panther is when like Killmonger was the ruler of Wakanda. And I think about Loki, like the TVA is not what we thought it was. So it always just means like, well, either switching power or like things aren't going to operate how they normally would. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of, I know when that's happened, you're gonna have to like think a little bit different and be prepared for something that you probably didn't expect beforehand.
Right, exactly. That's what they're saying. And right now, the TVA, which is supposed to be what's the foundation, is flipped on its head right now. Yeah. Ravonna is being accosted to my satisfaction. Loki and Sylvie is taking over the timeline, and your number one guy, Mobius, he getting ready to turn on that ass. He ain't having it no more. And so this was the thing me and Elliot was talking about. You see how it's got Kunang on the side of the Avengers Tower in the void? If you can see, that is the name of Kang's company. So that's what we were saying when you talk about you've got all these Easter eggs in there. Kang's last name is Richards, and he owns a company, and that's the name of his company. And they got that plastered right there on the side of Avengers Tower, which is destroyed in the void in this particular episode. And one thing that you guys covered that we're going to cover again is the introduction of Aliyah. One Take. Talk to me about Aliyah, this entity, this superpower, this cloud that can devour all matter, all energy. What did it mean to you when you first saw it in Loki series? And while you talk, I'm going to show you the pictures.
Okay.
It does have comic sources. So this is what it looked like in the comic. And this is a picture of Kang and Aliyah. And Kang is afraid of this entity. That's one thing that was real big for us comic geeks. Kang is afraid of this entity because it's the only thing that can eat matter and transcend time. But go ahead, One Take.
Now listen, I'm gonna be real. I had to look up Aliyah after the episode went off, and that first image you showed from the comics is the one that I saw. The reason I had to do this because I was wondering. I get like I got PTSD from the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer when they had Goliath in there, and he was just this big cloud. So I had to go make sure like was this actually how it looked? And obviously, how that is how he looks at the comics as well. But my only thing is just I've been so scorned from just like big clouds devouring things. I didn't know how I wasn't that excited about it because I thought about that, and I also thought about the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds and how
Oh,
so I'm just thinking like
yeah.
another big cloud. But the
Yeah.
way that they had Elias, well, I like how they did it because it was something that they had to overcome in a different kind of way than you would normally like something like tangible, something like solid. So I actually did enjoy it as like time went on, but like it was just that big cloud. It just it's just I get bad memories when I think of big clouds and comic book property.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have another fantastic YouTuber. And when I reference this YouTuber, I have to use words that have multiple syllables in it because that's what you're going to get on his channel. He's not going to be using 3-letter words like I do on my channel. It's the big homie Elliot from Movie Files. My brother, how you doing today?
Long time no see. What's going on,
Hey,
Lamont, Big Dog? How we doing, everyone in the chat?
We glad to have you, my man. And let me shout out my super chatters real quick. Then we'll bring you back into the fold, my brother.
Yeah, man.
So we've got Buzz, we've got Mike Willie, and then I saw another one down there. We're all very grateful. And in my old tradition, I used to give y'all a video, and then I got lazy on y'all. So I am going to give y'all a video to say thank you and to just let y'all know that I appreciate you guys coming through and super chatting with us.
I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band, Sexual Chocolate. I believe the children are our future. Thank you. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Love of all inside of me. Yeah. Sexual Chocolate.
That's right. I appreciate y'all, man. That's all I see is sexy chocolate when you guys come through with those nice super chats. And so, and Will Lawrence got you in there too, baby. I appreciate that. Elliot, we was just talking about the introduction of Aliyah into the MCU. And one take was talking about the way he felt for the first time seeing it, that he was worried because he's seen all these superhero movies. And I feel his pain, where you see these clouds of smoke come and destroy and devour entities. And we haven't been too long come off New Mutants, which I didn't like all that well, but they had a cloud bear destroying stuff. So tell me about how you feel about the introduction of Aliyah into the MCU.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with Big Dog. Yeah, the big cloud monster creature, the trope is definitely kind of played out. To me, it's almost just like an excuse for visual effects. It's like, let's just make it a big cloud and not really give us some. But, as you just showed on the screen, it is the comic book accuracy come to life, taking it from the pages and bringing it to the big screen, which, again, this was the whole theme of this episode is like take the most obscure, villains, Easter eggs, all that stuff, and let's throw it in this episode and make it cohesive within the story. So yes, I'm not a fan of the cloud entities, but I will say in regards to this cloud entity, it does speak to some connections to a Kang type of character, which I think is really interesting. And if someone's able to just to show the powers of this creature who can eat realities, and as we see in this episode, is very destructive. If someone's controlling this, that means whoever's controlling this is even bigger and badder and scarier. So just that idea that someone's able to control this to protect them really speaks to whoever is behind the scenes, someone formidable and someone we should be afraid of.
Right. And let's just say that, how about we say it like this? Because fellas, we're all over the board in this review. You can jump from part to part and I'll make sure I can bring it all home together. We pretty much know how this episode ended, right? And so to think that something is more powerful than Aliyah, we could also say that maybe it's not more powerful, but that maybe it's manipulating Aliyah based on what we just seen with them trying to enchant Aliyah at the end. One take, jump on in there. Say what you want, my brother.
Man, you. I don't know what you did. I don't know what you got going. I don't know what superpower. It's like you reached right into my brain, knew exactly what point I was going to break up, and said, "I'm gonna make sure I say it first. I'm gonna pass it to you."
Oh my Lord!
That's why Lamont, I feel robbed because that's the first thing that goes into my mind. I said, because I don't know why I haven't thought about this till now. But even when I guess when I thought about it, you just said, "Oh, that was a good idea. Let me just pluck that from one of his dreads or something and say it." But I was thinking, like, if these two Lokis were able to like enchant Elias, why couldn't another Loki who's probably maybe more seasoned, maybe more better with all these different types of powers that a Loki has? He can simply enchant it or like manipulate Elias to do its bidding. Therefore, it doesn't necessarily have to be stronger. Just be like you said, somebody to manipulate it.
Elliot, how you feel about that? Because in the beginning of this series, they made it seem like Loki was more powerful than Sylvie. But Sylvie had the powers to enchant people. Right. And now through this episode, we've seen that these Lokis are very strong. They just got to have the right motivation to seize the moment and release their powers. Could you see something manipulating Elias?
Bringing up that point, I mean, this whole show has been about, deception and illusions and things of that nature. I guess my only rebuttal to that would be like, I guess, and this just speaks to, again, if there is someone, a bigger, badder, smarter Loki, I would think that Sylvie and Loki would be able to detect that this is all an illusion, that it isn't real once they've had that link or that connection to the entity. But again, this is just just goes to show you if this ends up being a fake and it ends up being a fake illusion, then it just speaks to if it is a Loki or a Kang or whatever the case may be, that they have these type of abilities. But I just kind of assume, just kind of thinking of that they would have maybe just been able to, oh, this is fake. This is all part of the the Mysterio of it all. There's illusions going on, but hey, I wouldn't put it past the show with us dealing with these fake deceptions and Lokis and illusions that it could just been all pretend the whole time, but we'll see.
And I promise I'm gonna get us off Elias, but I've just got one more point. And Big Dog, please, if you have a thought in your brain, say it before I say what I'm about to say.
I ain't got nothing right now. Okay. I ain't got nothing.
I want us to think about this series and the history of Sylvie enchanting people. If you guys recall, she could not enchant Loki. Now, this is the only beef I have that I didn't mention on Behavior Stream. If she could not enchant Loki because his magic and whatnot was too powerful, is it fair for us to believe that they can enchant Elias even as a team? And I'll give it to you first, Elliot.
No, that's another good point. Why wasn't she able to do that to Loki, but they were able to together, which I guess would be the argument, together they're able to enchant this big entity if it is to be real. But yeah, again, I think this is all pointing towards. So I guess if this is an illusion, how would you conjure up this illusion? Who would you have gotten this illusion from? Have they come across this being before? But yeah, I think if there is to be the case that this is real, then the power of two Lokis could enchant this big purple cloud demon thing. So, but yeah, that's a good point. If she wasn't able to conjure up or enchant a simple-minded Loki, then how were they able to do this with this big being? That's a good question.
Oh man, no, he didn't go to one take. He called him simple-minded Loki
to a certain extent, because again, the Big Dog will point to it. Hey, let's go behind this thing and cut it with a sword. So, I mean, Loki isn't the sharpest tool in the kit sometimes.
Exactly. It's that.
Man, I can't with y'all, dude.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna lean more into what something our simple-minded Loki does say. It's like I think we're more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, and I think that's the reason. Now, for example, if there's a Loki pulling the strings, we know that their power far exceeds that of which we've seen from them. Now, Sylvie not being able to enchant Loki is kind of that definitely is kind of weird. This is before they got the whole, you know, the sexual tension between one another. So this one she was still off trying to really actually do her thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if he gets into his mind and maybe Loki like has like a mental block that he hasn't quite overcome, but once somebody like tries to enchant him, maybe that's when it comes out and he's just not fully aware of it. That's probably one of the explanations I have. I know it's kind of a stretch and all, and I'm grasping at straws, but that's probably like the only thing I can think of other than them just being a lot stronger than we've given them credit for. And maybe we might see that true strength of the Loki's next episode. If that is the case, like it'll definitely be more logical. Or well, them enchanting alliance would make more logical sense to me.
Okay. All right, Elliot, I've done some covers so that it can kind of help us as you tell your tale of what you saw in the story, kind of keep you watching. So I'm going to ask you the question as I'm giving you a cover to go forward with it. Yep. So we opened up this series with them twisting everything back using the metaphor. It's all chaos. You have Loki waking up in this void to see these other Lokis. And they have a little conversation at the very beginning about where he's at, what's going on. Break down your thoughts when you first saw the opening scene with the Lokis.
Yeah, no, you just kind of alluded to it in regards to just the way that the show opens up with us being flipped upside down, but also the characters in the show being flipped upside down. Everyone's world has been kind of reintroduced in a certain extent. We get, Mobius, his whole belief system has just crumbled down in the last few weeks. Loki being his goal of being the king of Midgard and all that stuff, that has changed since we saw him in the first episode. Sylvie, her goal to just do this by herself. Now she has a friend to kind of lean on. So everyone's world, and also everyone in the TVA, or at least certain members, know that they're variants. So everything has been turned upside down, which is just a great way to, again, just let us know that we're entering this new phase of this show with everyone kind of switching their original plan. So I love that way how we open up within the show. Was just, again, just speaks to just the production of this episode, which is, there's layers to it, right? At first viewing, you can take it in the way you do, but I bet you on a second rewatch, third rewatch, it's gonna, not only will you see more Easter eggs, but just understanding this, connecting the tissue. And that's the gift and the curse of watching a show at a weekly basis. You take in an episode, but then you kind of forget about maybe this connects to the previous episode. And then after that, so I think this has so much rewatchability, and particularly this episode of just the layers and what they're kind of speaking to of the characters and where they're at in the show.
Absolutely. One take, how'd you feel about the opening of this episode?
I really enjoyed the opening just because we get to see the different types of Lokis and pretty much their personalities. You quickly start to like fall for each one of them for something different. I mean, you literally have an alligator with the helmet on. That right there alone was just cool. But I know there's a part of y'all, and I think Lamar, you talked about this last week. We thought he was going to be able to talk. That's something I actually kind of wanted to see a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But little Loki, we finding out what a beast he is, doing something that no other Loki has been able to do, which is kill his brother Thor. You got OG Loki is just great. Exactly. Like he's pretty much, he's seen it all, he's done it all. He's just like, hey, we need to move. You get out your feelings. We explain everything later. We got to go. And like once we get into his story, I thought that was like another one of the best parts of this episode as well. And God, what's the Black Loki? I can't think. What was it?
Boastful. Yeah.
Boastful. I like him, but like he a big capper. Like he just like, hey, bro, you over here lying to these people trying to put on. Like what you doing, dude? So I enjoyed the Loki's dynamic and the TVA being put on notice and everything. I do kind of wish we could see more of what's going on at the TVA though, just because after all those like those, after Sylvie set off all those bombs, we never really just got like a true feeling as to like what's happening inside the TVA.
That's a great point.
I mean, I wouldn't mind them going through, letting us know, and maybe it's going to be the next series, the aftermath of the TVA, when this truth gets out. I mean, you could have like a civil war within the TVA. I'm not saying turn the TVA into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but you could easily do a story like that where all these people, some of them are superpowered, working in the TVA, and you've got one guy who's coming there to burn it to the ground. Sound like Killmonger. I'm going to burn it to the ground. And you probably have some who's still drinking, as Elliot said, the Kool-Aid. They're still drinking the TVA Kool-Aid. So to see that destruction, I think is probably going to be another Marvel series. And to one take's point, I wanted the alligator to talk. Yes, I did. And don't be surprised if we somewhere see down the road the alligator actually talking with Rocket Raccoon and the cat that scratched up Nick Fury's eye, the Flurkin.
I would throw Howard the Duck in there too. Go ahead.
Throw him in there.
Throw
him in there, baby. Throw him in there. One take, I'm gonna come to you now. So now we got to talk about Ravonna Put It On You. So she gets into a spat with Sylvie, and she had me food. I know she ain't have you food. She had me food for a little while. Until this part right here, when she gets up with Miss Minutes. And that's when I was like, okay, I thought that the thread of your life, you learned this new truth, was going to make you really want to help and figure out what the hell is going on, but it didn't. So break down this scene where you had Sylvie, basically she pruned herself once we figured out that Ravonna was still lying. Break that down for us, one take.
Okay, I just think Ravonna Put It On You is just a terrible liar. And so I just pretty much see through anything she says. Listen, I understand. I get it, Lamar. You get to looking at her. You get into those eyes. You kind of get hypnotized a little bit. You just think like, yeah, of course. You want to take down the TV. You want to take them down too. I feel you. We can do this together.
Exactly.
Instead of shaking her, I probably would have hugged her. Like, yeah, we can do this together.
I would have tried.
Well, let me tell you a reason why I'm like, nah, she's definitely not going to switch up that quick. One, last week she literally told Sylvie to kill her. Not only that, after she saw that the TVA were robots, she still pruned Loki, so she was still already in it. Like if she would have had some different action from last week, maybe I probably would have gave her the benefit of the doubt. And then you get to talking, and she says, "Well, yeah, there's a place where a machine that can get you through the void." And the way she brought it up, I'm just like, yo, like you have to be better. You have to learn how to lie to me better, Ravonna. Like, what are you doing right now? So her and Miss Minutes working together. Miss Minutes is probably something I think we should really be talking about, because Miss Minutes kind of like peep game. Miss Minutes know exactly what's up. She's like, okay, my girl in trouble. Let me go ahead and throw this little tidbit of information out. And obviously, Miss Minutes can't be touched. So she's like, okay, let me look out for her. But of course, they're stalling time just so the other Minuteman can show up. But I also still like Sylvia in that moment. She's like, you know what? I almost thought you almost had me for a minute, right? And then she's just thinking to herself, what could I possibly do? And something that was weird to me. I'm thinking back to this moment where she said, when Ravonna told her, I can put you in the loop. Do you have any good moments? And she said, I can think of one. Was the moment she thinking about something from her past, or was she thinking about a time with Loki? Therefore, it reminded her like the only good time she's ever had was with him. So she pruned herself to go find it.
Hey, Ellie, I'll let you go first. Rebuttal how you feel about that, and then I'll finish up.
Yeah, no, I think it is a time that she had with Loki that they spent together on, a world event, with Lamentis. So I think that was, because she says it so much so in this episode, I don't know what's going on here. I never had a friend, so this is all new to her. So she's never had an encounter like this. So I think it is that one encounter that she had with Loki. Of course, she was a kid and she probably could remember things, but I think this was something that she definitely wanted to revisit with that, even though the world was ending, she was able to find, which again, I know everyone's not a big fan of episode 3, but I think episode 3 has a little bit more bite to it, that it does kind of lay the groundwork for this friendship. I know a lot of people think of it as a romance. I legitimately think that their relationship is just a deep, deep friendship for one another. I don't think there's anything romantically going on with them. It could be, and if they have a baby, imagine what that Loki will look like. Hell, maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's why they want to get Sylvie, because she had a Nexus event and had intercourse with Loki, and they created this Loki. I don't know. Maybe that's why they caught her when she was a kid, to prevent this from ever happening. You know how time travel works. So
Right.
yeah, I think there's something to say about their that moment that they shared together, and she wants to go back to that moment.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I'm with you. She was definitely talking about that moment with Loki, and she's pretty much said so. But when you think about her history, they took her as a child, and it's hard for me to think that you're an adult now, and the finest moment you can remember was something that happened to you 5 and below. Because for half of that, your hippocampus ain't even formed. You don't know nothing. You don't remember nothing. So basically, within 2 or 3 years, you had your finest moment. I definitely think she was talking about Loki in that moment. And she pruned herself, not knowing whether or not that was the truth or a lie per se, because Ravonna had already pretty much said, she already revealed she's a damn liar. So I think it was all about Loki, the way it went down when you're talking about Sylvie. And
Yeah,
so
she really took a chance with
Yeah,
she
did.
did. She did. She put her life on the line, bro. I mean, and that should be more information and insight for Elliot to know that this is a deeper love than my brother and sister. That's all I'm saying. And ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the TX, the big homie, Brandon Keith Avery, in the building to talk some smack about the parts he loved, the parts he didn't like. B. Avery, how you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm hanging tough, man. Just geeking out, having fun.
How are you guys? How y'all doing?
Oh, we good. We good. We ready to hear you rip into it.
Yeah, man. Because now, B. Avery, you get to sit back. You don't got to click no buttons. You ain't got to worry about the people in the chat. That's my job now. And I even got some overlays for you, my brother, to tell your story. So let me go on ahead and get you involved now. So we're at the Void, and we're taking this tour through the Void. And one of the first things we pop up on is this right here. Bam. The Thanos helicopter. Now, of course, we're beyond the point where Loki has met up with them. They know who he is. He know who they are, and they're going to band together to try to survive. And ladies and gentlemen, that Loki copter came straight out of the comics. Yeah, it did. But my question to you, B. Avery, is how did you like the landscape of the Void and the actual initial conversations with the Lokis?
I actually love the landscape of the Void. That was actually one of the better parts of the episode, the way they opened it up with just this long one shot, going over the horizon, just showing how deep, it was. So that's pretty cool right there. And the introduction, you said the introduction of all the Lokis and how they started talking and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that too. I like each Loki, the classic Loki the most. But each of them had, their own, different flavor to add to the pot, so that was cool. When I like that our Loki was asking the important questions at the very beginning, like, hey, what's the plan? What we're gonna do? They talking about don't die. He'd be like, but hey, man, what we got to do though, and so he's like, hey, can somebody please tell me what the hell is going on? And like, I would have been asking the same questions,
Right.
And even on the other side, look, this is the Void, that's Goliath, and we're his lunch, so we got to get going. You know what I'm saying? So, this is how episode 3 should have been at the very beginning, with Loki asking these questions of Sylvie, but they was on some other stuff. So that is one thing that this episode did get right, in my opinion, is like at least at the very beginning he was asking the right probing questions, as I would if I was in his shoes.
Got you. One take. Break down the beginning parts of the Lokis.
Which part?
How did you like the way they introduced Loki to that crew, and did you like the dynamic and the landscape of the Void?
Oh yeah, I enjoy. Oh yeah, the landscape is fire. I think it's kind of what you expect, especially when you learn what Goliath does. So I like that. I like all the stuff in the background and the scenery and stuff. And then them walking together, and like you can tell like they're all similar right there. You can tell just off the bat like how similar they are. at the same time, it's like, dude, we've been here. We know this terrain. Just walk with us. Like, don't you're lagging behind. Like, we trying to tell you like what we need to do. And I think like he probably should have noticed what Loki probably should have realized. Like, okay, if these guys are here, apparently they've been here for a while. Okay, so if there's a plan, either they've already done it or they're thinking on it. But like Loki, just like, I need to know right now. It's like, dude, you just got here. Like if we had a plan to get out, we would have already been gone before you even arrived. So chill, bro. And like I said, I enjoy each different Loki for different reasons. Because I think all of them have something. Even though they're similar, they all have something unique about themselves.
Yeah, gotcha. Elliot, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, this is, this show, what I love about the MCU now is we have a catalog of this like callbacks and references. So this, to me, this was like when Loki's going to the void, reminded me so much of, when Loki went to Cigar, as far as Thor. Who's this? Who's the Grand Master? Why is there anus coming in the middle of the world and all this junk coming there? So it's almost like the reverse of Loki coming to this new planet and not knowing who's who, what's what, why is there birds walking around with no heads and all that stuff. So I love that Loki, again, this is just putting us in the shoes of the audience. Loki is just as curious as we are at this place. But again, going back to our Lokis being seasoned vets, it's just like, hush, hush, follow us. We can talk about this later. We just need to survive. And that's the whole thing about Lokis. As we learn from this show, we can never count out a Loki. They are all about survivors, little cockroaches. You can't kill them. So I love that these Lokis, they all have their distinguished different things that separate them. But one thing they can stay in common is they can figure out how to survive. So I love the void, the production of it all, the look of it all, the aesthetic, that all the stuff from the MCU's lore and even from other planets have made their way on this planet, as the Thanos chopper that we saw and Little Frog Thor. And I think there was a head of a living tribunal. I think there was a head of the Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man. And maybe that's maybe where he went when he got in the quantum realm. So I love that. I would love a show if we can get like all the Easter eggs in the void, like a one shot or a what if series of just showing us all the stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that can be found on this planet or this. I don't even know if it's a planet. Where is the void? But I love this landscape of this place.
You know what? You up here creating videos that Marvel don't need to make. We need to make them. We need to make a straight episode 5
Easter egg hunt.
Yep. Call it whatever you want. And I might just do it, but I'm gonna let you co-sign on it if I decide to get down like that.
Hey, man, it's gonna take a team because there is so much stuff in this. Like, it's gonna take a whole team to point out all the Easter eggs.
It is definitely gonna do that. Now, before you got up here, Elliot, I showed on one tape the company name for Kane as Richards. I showed him the company name on the Avengers Tower, but I've got an Easter egg I'm gonna show you guys. And one take, I'm gonna come to you next. You guys talked about this sword. Sword is called Leviathan, and it dates back to Loki's whole family ancestry. You can set it on fire. This is him in the comics, and cool believe we are going to probably see him in the Young Avengers series. I guarantee you, because this Loki is a quote unquote good Loki, and that sword is pretty bad. It allows him to channel his magic the same way Mjolnir does with Thor. But one take, I'm gonna come to you for something that was one of my favorite parts of this show. And that was B-15 having a mic drop moment. Ravonna, put it on you. Jump on in there one take.
Yeah, this scene was so good. Like Ravonna is getting just like knocked down peg after peg after peg. And I think B-15 probably was like, it felt like the last straw because B-15 from her dialogue, every time, like her rebuttals to every time Ravonna said something were on point. They were swift and like they cut like little daggers. You know what I'm saying? See what I did there? I thought it was great, especially when she talked like, "Yo, you were disloyal." And it's just like, to who though? Like, you saw what I saw. Now, like, there's no loyalty to anyone. This whole thing is a hoax. Like, get over it. But why am I even locked up right now?
Yeah.
I shouldn't even be here.
Right.
And then we talk about the moment where I think we one of the best moments where she talked about you're not gonna find him before her. She says, why Like she said, because she needs it, you just want it. And it's like, yes, that is exactly what it is. Ramona, you just in this right now, and you finally starting to like come to the realization, maybe the TVA art isn't what I thought it was. But like that has had to be Sylvia's thought process the entire time. Because once again, they snatched this girl up as a kid. She has not had the chance to actually live a real life. She's been on the run this entire time. She's had to kill people. I'm pretty sure like she didn't want to just be out here killing people, burning people alive. When she started doing it, she got really good at it. But like at the same time, it's like, no, I need to realize, I need to know why my life was snatched away from me and what was the purpose of that.
Yeah.
Great scene. Absolutely fantastic.
Jump on in there. I don't know how you go behind that, Elliot.
He laid down Thor's hammer on that one, man. Only thing I'll add in is this, obviously there's one thing that Ravonna does kick back at her and say, and it could be somewhat in a weird, twisted Stockholm Syndrome way. She says that stability. The TVA needs stability. They need something to believe in, which is a big theme of this show is like the belief system, what people believe in. And Loki believes that they're only a Loki and they can only do one thing, which is chaos. But we see they can do other things. They can be heroes of their own story. And the same goes with Mobius. So I love that she had said that. So it does just kind of speak to Ravonna, even if she doesn't. She's not. I don't think she's it's so interesting. I can't wait to get the reveal of Ravonna. Was she taken from a timeline or was she a part of, she obviously doesn't know who's behind the scenes, but again, just her belief system of just these people need something to believe in. And it makes you wonder how they pick the people from obviously their variants, but is it because of their skill set? Were they not having, B15 says she had a happy life, but was there more to it? So they pick people because they were at the lowest points. Again, the show is showing you that there are gray areas with these characters. And right now the show is making it seem like Ravonna is the big bad. She has no heart. She has no soul, but she cares about the people in TVA, right? Because she says they need something to believe in, need some stability. So this show is all about great characters. No one's truly bad. No one's truly good.
Let me, before you go, BA, let me hop in. I think I like Elliot's point because one, Ravonna got a chance to see what how C20 reacted once she found out what her life was like. So I guess she could possibly be thinking, what if this happened to everybody else at the TVA and like they start losing their mind and start crying because of what they got took from. Still messed up though.
True. Good point. B. Avery, I put all that on your plate, my brother. Feast how you like.
Yeah, I see what y'all saying. I do agree.
Oh boy.
I do.
Oh boy.
But no. But at the same time, it's just like Ravonna, man. She's wicked. I just think it's an act. She is mentally disturbed.
B. Avery, I gotta interview you. I gotta ask interview style questions here. Now I'm Black Poper. B. Avery, if someone believes in something so much, for example, let me give you an extreme example. Donald Trump still believes he's the president of the United States because it was stolen from him. I don't know how he came to that realization, but he believes it. If Ravonna believes in this TVA the way she claims she does, is she wrong?
Yes, absolutely. Are you serious?
Okay, so let me rephrase and then I'm done. Are you saying Sylvie is wrong for killing people even though she was plucked by the TVA?
I don't know if I want to use the word wrong, but you can say that there's always another way, because one of the things that she could have been, instead of burning people up, she could have been going around enchanting people to switch them over to the good side as well. And then too, if they didn't know, which she knew everybody was a variant, you know what I'm saying? They didn't know that. So she should have gave them the benefit of the doubt. Okay. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not in her shoes. She was plucked from a child as a child. So I don't know if I want to use the word wrong, but it's kind of like how the Falcon was talking to Carly Morgenthau, talking about, hey, I agree with your fight, just not the way you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So
Okay.
The TV does need to be destroyed, be dismantled. But why are you burning people that are ignorant of the truth? You know,
Okay.
especially when you can set them free.
No.
You know,
Good point.
And that's
but-
why I love this show, man. Again, no one's truly good, no one's truly bad.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're the hero of their own story. So that's why, to your point, Beaver, I don't know if she is, disturbed. This is just she's
No,
a
right.
hero.
the
She's a
reason why I
hero.
say
She's
it
Thanos.
because
She's a Thanos in there right
she
now.
she knows that it's a bunch of hogwash. She knows that she is trying to uphold the lie. Everybody else didn't know.
Hey,
What?
Okay.
our parents do
that's
that,
what-
right? They know some of the truths of what certain things that they know. She thinks she's protecting those people,
completely
right?
different. Are you serious?
But I'm with it. Ravona thinks she's protecting the TVA.
She does. Yeah,
She does.
stability.
thinks-
They keeping
she
the
thinks
sacred
she-
timeline in order.
So it's like this. When you find out Santa Claus is not real,
Mhm.
are you upset that you got the gifts? The gifts was real. I mean, you might know Santa Claus is not real, but you still
My
want to get
brother,
gifts.
I don't know how you're making that comparison, but
Hey,
it
man. Hey, man.
it don't link up to me. That's like, man, no, bro. She like, I love the way B15 was checking her. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, Lord of
Yeah.
who? This man, you know what I'm saying? Like, this the facial expressions, the mannerisms were just really on point. Like, I felt like I knew this woman. You know, it was no more TVA agent. This was somebody that I done, probably rubbed shoulders with somebody sometime somewhere in my life. You know, I don't know. It was just dope. That was dope.
Mhm.
I do have a question though for the panel and everyone in the chat too. Do we think that the foundation of TVA, the idea of the TVA does make sense, right? That there are people, there are variants that go off their timeline and can cause a nexus event. Do we think that is all true, or there are some obviously there's holes within that story, but without the TVA, do we think there will be a destruction? Do we think there will be a nexus event if these people aren't doing what they're doing?
No.
Mm.
No.
Man.
Maybe.
Because if you burn them all to the ground, who's going to protect this sacred timeline? I know the Avengers ain't doing it because they can't
I
even
don't
keep their own
believe in the sacred
timeline.
timeline. I don't really believe in the sacred timeline either.
Elliot, when you start talking about all that stuff, you are literally talking about the most powerful entities in Marvel, like the Living Tribunal. And technically, nothing goes by him without him judging it. So at some point in time, the MCU, if what you propose to us is the way it is, that's got to be exercised at some point in time. And we've persistently seen where the MCU has been trying to sprinkle in the Living Tribunal, but they haven't been able to give them a full backstory. So I don't know.
I don't want to see the Living Tribunal for a long time.
Me neither.
I want them to wait, man. It can be 10 years before they shut the Living Tribunal.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Yeah.
I don't want them to. I definitely don't want them to blow their load too early. But anyway.
We'll get to Loki doing that in a minute.
No, I'm okay. I'm gonna move it. So I don't want us here all night. So let me move because I can ask y'all some stuff, but I'm gonna save it for another video. So I'm gonna show y'all a couple of Easter eggs. Then we're gonna talk about what went down in Kid Loki's lair. It was some mess. It was some mess going on in there. So Elliot caught the Yellow Jacket helmet, and you all caught Thor's hammer, and you also caught Frog Thor. Yes, there was a Frog Thor in the story, and he's right there jumping, trying to get to the hammer. So I'm gonna pause here real quick as we're going into the lair. Do y'all think, and I'll start with you, Elliot, do you think that they would let Frog Thor get that hammer before the series is over with?
No, that would be nice. But no, I think it's a little bit that's like the gift and the curse of Marvel. It's just like, oh, they can do it, but then they still have to stay on point. They still have to have their narrative with Loki. But hey, man, give me an animated series to show what it would look like if Thor did get that hammer. But again, that's the beauty of this episode, man. I think this is we're at the point now where we can have a Frog Thor. We're at the point now where we can have a Big Cloud Goliath. We are at the point now where we have the TVA and we're talking Kang and Living Tribunal. I mean, this conversation in the comic book store happens every day, but not in the mass media. So just the fact that we're at this point in the MCU just gets me excited that Marvel, and I love DC. This isn't a cut at DC. but we can't even get a Man of Steel 2. But yet we're talking about living tribunals and all this stuff in the MCU. This is how far we've come along while DC's still trying to find their way. But no, this is and I love DC. Hey, man, you cut me right now. I'm bleeding DC colors. But hey, it's just the fact of the matter that Marvel is light years ahead of where our DC universe is. But no, if we see that frog in that hammer, that would have been crazy to see.
B. Avery, do you think they'll even let him get out the jar? Let me ask another question, because he shot down my hope and dream for this season. Can he at least get out the jar?
Maybe in a post-credit scene, maybe.
Exactly.
But
there you go.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think he gonna fly up in the air like 4 minutes ago. But I think maybe he'll be out the drawer in the post credit scene. He say ribbit, and then that'll be it or something. That would be dope if he was like for Odin. Thor ain't even done that in the MCU yet, man. What the hell, man?
He hasn't.
That's crazy.
He hasn't, man. They've kept that in the cartoons and in the comic books. I mean, because now, like I said, y'all might can get us on comics, but on the cartoons, you ain't getting me and B. Avery. I can just guarantee you that. Put us on Comic Family Feud. We winning the money.
Oh, yeah.
We taking that bag. Yeah. And he has not said, because Thor, when it's really trouble for Thor in them cartoons, when that boy say for Midgard, that hammer and hell is coming down on your head. Am I right, B. Avery?
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right.
It took 13 years to say the cap to say Avengers Assemble. So maybe Thor: Love and Thunder. There you go. That's going to be his mind.
Yeah. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you. Keep him up alive. Keep him up alive.
Yeah. And he might have to say it then too, because God Killer coming from him.
He ain't playing. Yeah, man. Christian Bale, man. Woo.
So one take I'm gonna ask you too. Are we gonna get any frog action outside of the jar?
I hate to be I hate to be that guy, man. Listen, if y'all want to enjoy him, you're gonna have to go back and just replay that clip, man, because that's it. That's a wrap. He's done. We won't see him no more. We won't see the hammer no more. He's done. You better go freeze frame it, put it as a background. That's all you gonna get, dog. He over with, man.
Okay. All right. B. Avery, I'm coming to you now. So we're in Kid Loki's lair, and we're kind of learning more about the backstories of all the Lokis. We know that the Nexus event for Alligator Loki, Logator, was that he ate a cat. It said he ate a cat. Mm-hmm. And we also learned that Boastful Loki loves to tell story. He told a story that he took all of the stones and he used them, and it got so bad that Alligator Loki bit his damn hand. And then we also learned that Kid Loki, he killed Thor in his timeline. And we learned that OG Loki winds up faking his death to Thanos and then decides he wants to go out and be on his own. B. Avery, just pick up anywhere on that and tell us how you liked it.
Well, yeah, this is actually one of the things I did like. It was cool. It ended kind of goofy with Loki and his dumbass plan somebody, let's just kill the thing, and I can go, use all the help I can get, and then laughing at him. But however, I like Alligator Loki running up and biting Boastful Loki. Boastful Loki need to close his mouth, stop lying, talking about you had all the 6 Infinity Stones. But classic Loki talking about him faking his death and him going off to the planet and living in solitude. Excuse me, I like that a lot, and I like the delivery from Richard E. Grant as well. It was really sincere, and I kind of felt sorry for him. I did, and so this was a scene that I liked. But like I said, other than Loki with his piss poor plan. Now, when the rest of the Lokis came down, I wasn't a fan of it anymore. I mean, I've heard the argument that they all started fighting because it's chaos, and that's kind of like what Lokis do. Mm-hmm. True, okay, you can win that argument, but for me, when I was watching, I was just like, this is silly, man. They could be answering questions that help flesh out the story, but this is wasting screen time. I'm not interested in this. I want to hurry up and let's move past this. let's get to the next scene to where, hopefully they'll be dropping some jewels or something. So that's just kind of how, my experience with, those two scenes running together right there.
Okay. One take, how did you feel about being inside Kid Loki's lair and the other Lokis jumping up in there?
Shout out to Loki Gator, man. I like Loki Gator. Loki Gator ain't putting up with none of this. Okay, first of all, he don't. Maybe that's the reason he can't talk, because he's strictly about action. Okay, you come around him lying, he gonna try to take your arm off. So I enjoyed that. But more importantly, classic Loki and like his story of how he was so good, he was able to fool the Mad Titan himself, and you just started thinking about that story right there, just like how it might pertain to like later on when we see like Infinity War again, maybe a clip from it where like our Loki tries to do or does exactly what classic Loki does, and then it is kind of sad when you think about him just like going put himself in self-isolation, because that's one thing that's been like kind of talked about a lot this series is the fact that like Loki, if you're a Loki, you kind of like end up alone. And even though he did it on his own accord, and the one time he tried to like break out from that and like get back and get reconnected with his brother and Thor, is like that causes that was going to cause some kind of event, and he get pruned away. Like it's kind of like a tragic story for OG Loki, and it's kind of depressing a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. Elliot, fill on in there how you feel about when they got down into the lair and all the things that was said when they was in the lair, including ending with the fight where President Loki jumps down there.
Yeah, no. So going back to what is it, bashful or boastful Loki?
Yeah, man.
This guy is great, man. Look at the hammer, the self-made. This is like John Walker level, making his own shield in the closet or in the garage type of moment. He created his own hammer to impersonate his brother Thor, and then he's telling his story that he conquered Iron Man and Captain America, and I just love that the alligator. This is perfect to me. This is like it's an alligator. This is Florida man. The boastful Loki is Florida man. He's making up these lies. He's coming up with all this type of stuff, and this alligator ain't having it. So I love that moment with those characters, but just that moment with Richard E. Grant and the way he sells those lines. We've seen exposition before. We've seen characters we've never met before telling us a story of their life, and it's just like it's just empty calories. But hearing Richard E. Grant talk about, as one take just mentioned about them being by themselves, being alone. He wanted to come back, and obviously it diverted the timeline because he's supposed to be. This is the big thing about Lokis. They are supposed to be created to create chaos and to ultimately be outcasts, the god of outcasts, as he says in this scene. But it's knowing that he now has this band of brothers, if you want to call them that, and this Loki, and Lokis can now play off of each other and feed off each other and learn from one another, just kind of speaks to, again, this whole diversion of Lokis being in one lane, but showing that they can be something else. They can band together. They can work together, even though we see them having this ultimate moment of chaos in a couple scenes from here. But I think that was a big moment for our Loki to hear that wisdom, to drop that knowledge that older Loki, classic Loki, gave him. So this is a great moment. I love the set design too of this, and also shout out to President Loki, which is what I've heard is a really cool comic book run of politicians and campaigning and lies, and the word believe, the big word in there in the middle of that is lie. So I love that we get this Easter egg of President Loki, and also shout out to Tom Hiddleston pulling double duty, working his Loki and introducing this new Loki. So this is all some great stuff for me.
Yeah, I wonder how many checks you think he gets for this. Do you think they
double it up? He's the producer too. Shout out to Tom Hiddleston and all these executive producers. Scarlett Johansson, executive producer Black Widow. So it goes to show you Marvel's doing their thing, unlike DC. But yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. Keep hitting me here.
It hurts it hurts me to say it. It hurts me to say it, big dog.
And all I'm gonna say with you in DC is just hold your horses. When I see a legitimate website report some things I've been seeing, I'll let you guys know before I even say anything about it. But I think we might be turning the corner with DC, so just hold your horse. We might be getting something coming, brother. Hang in there
next year. Yeah, I'm excited for that Flash.
Hang in there. Yeah, hang in there. One take, we coming back to you now. So Sylvie done pruned herself. She's in the void. She lands on top of a bus. She pops out. Eliathus is chasing her, and she's trying to get away. She touches him a little bit, and then when she touches him, she sees his memory, because that's how her enchantment works. She sees the Citadel. She sees the door. She actually sees the asteroid in the time void. She sees all that, and she sees a bright light source. And then the very next thing we know, she's running, trying to escape. Who pops up in a pizza car near the San Francisco Bridge? Our boy Mobius. Pick up anywhere in there you want to, one take.
Wow. Excuse me. Well, yeah. One, when she was running from, I was wondering how quick, like I don't know if she was trying to enchant Elias at that moment, or she was just like maybe just testing it out, because it was pretty quick, and I'm just like, okay, if it's that close to you for you to touch it, then aren't you kind of like in danger, because like obviously it's chasing right after you and you're the focus. But shout out to Mobius coming through. I don't know where he got the car from. I don't know. I can't believe the car still has some gas. I can't believe Elias having like already got at the car. He just swings open the back door. You know what I'm saying? Apparently Elias was right behind Sylvie, but Elias maybe needed a little breather to get so Sylvie can hop up in the car. But I love to see one, because I think it just it kind of like foreshadow what we're having at the end with Sylvie being able to enchant Elias. Now, and I'm happy to see Mobius was safe. Like, I mean, obviously we kind of knew after seeing like Loki pop up here, like, okay, Mobius is obviously probably gonna pop up around, but we didn't know when. We didn't know if like Elias maybe had got to him. I'm still also kind of wondering how Mobius knew where Sylvie was at, but that's neither here nor there either. So I just enjoy it. And those two have a great dynamic. I think considering this is the first time we ever heard those two talk back and forth. I really enjoy like the quick banter between the two.
Gotcha. Let me read my super chat here. Infinite Science, I appreciate you. My family. The series is okay, but being a Marvel comic collector, as far as the comics go, Loki was never this much of a fighter. In fact, he was very wimpy, and that is true. But I think the way the MCU is portraying how wimpy Loki was is just by executing how much of a loser he is. I mean, his whole entire life in the MCU, he's been a damn loser up until this point. And people love Tom Hiddleston so much as the character. Of course, they're going to milk this cow, man. They're going to ride him till the wheels fall off. But I appreciate your comment. Elliot, jump on in there. Pick up anywhere you want to on those series of events with Sylvie.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll just, I guess, if I'm to answer Big Dog in regards to how did he able to find her, I think maybe because she had the TIM pad, and I know Mobius still has his TIM pad, so maybe he can locate another TIM pad in the void. I don't know, like a GPS system.
I gotta pump your brakes. He don't have a TIM pad because at the end of the show, Loki gives the
very
the
true.
TIM pad.
He does give him. So I guess what happened to his TIM pad? Because he took Ravonna. He took Ravona's, but she kept his. Okay.
Yeah, she took it back.
I don't know how he was able to find. I mean, he's Mobius, man. I don't know. He's his own Wilson. But no, in regards to this moment, I like that. This was their first time interacting with each other, and I think it doesn't have the same electricity as like our Loki and Mobius, but it was still nice to see these two characters coming to saving one another. And at this point, Mobius is, he likes Loki, so he's going to help the Loki out in this moment that she needs. But again, man, Sylvie, she's such an interesting character that she's able to enchant this Eliath at this moment and kind of get that glimpse like you just showed of all of that stuff. And I can't wait to really go to that area who's behind the curtain. But I love that these two characters finally come together and they have to find their other friend to really complete the trio. But the next scene is really what kind of gets me in regards to the dialogue that they have with each other, which is just a means to an end. They both have done some things in their past that they might not be too proud of, but as the show has shown, if you you have enough time to reflect on what you've done. You have time to, make a change. So I love that those two characters can acknowledge they have a dark past, but they can now create their own path. And he gets his jet skis, and Sylvie gets her new friend. So yeah.
Avery, I'm scared to ask you. The expression on your face does not seem thrilling at all. But jump in here anywhere you want to. You can talk about the dialogue with Mobius and Sylvia in the car, her enchanting Eliathus, wherever you want to jump in, my brother.
Yeah, I actually think she just saw Mobius just saw her from afar.
Okay.
Because he could have been on the hilltop somewhere and just, found the car, hey, let me see if it works, or whatever, or I don't know, done his magic, I don't know. But when somebody is prone, you can see them teleport into the void. We saw the ship, we saw other things falling from the sky.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
So he probably just saw, her pop over there, because as soon as she woke up, she was being chased or whatever. And of course, you're gonna see Eliath, the cloud. And so she saw someone being pruned there, then Eliath, and he was like, "Oh, that's Sylvie."
Wow.
That's kind
wow.
of that's just kind of what I'm thinking. But also to echo what y'all said, it was nice dialogue in there. I think E-Man on this channel or somebody was saying that they like y'all heard the saying that normalize changing your mind when you're presented with new information. And you see that's the case with B-15 and Mobius, hence the conversation in the car right here. It's like, man, I thought we were doing the right thing, means to an end,
Right.
And they both kind of had a little wake up moment. So that was cool. That was cool right there.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you brought that up. That was another one of those great one-liners from this episode when they had that exchange. So good point. Now I'm coming to you, B. Abrams, starting out with you now. Kid Loki has some kind of device where he's able to know when people fall into the void. He's got some kind of device. So Loki has this masterful plan of he's going to kick Eliathus's ass.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to do it with the fire sword. I don't know if he's going to use his magic, but he's going to kick Eliathus's ass. And during the scene, a actual ship, falls in there. They see it. And Elliot, when I get to you, I'll let you tell the story of how the government tried to use a cloaking device for the ship. You can go back through that. But talk about how you felt when this ship popped in the scene. They're shooting missiles at it, and it's doing nothing. Just to kind of talk about that.
Well, that just goes to show how badass and strong Eliath is. That giant cannons can't do anything to him. But it's just also funny, man. They on that ship, they was ready to go, man. They was ready. They had their guns loaded and ready to fire. So I gotta give them that right there. As far as the kid Loki and his device, I forgot about that, but I do remember seeing it. But I forgot about that. And that's a pretty cool contraption he came up with. Very useful. So it kind of, I guess it makes more sense of how they're able to navigate a little bit better, throughout the void without dying, since they said they're survivors. So yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, it's his lair. He's supposed to be the king, the king of the Lokis down there. He's got the knife. The alligator is his Loki, but it's basically like his pet. And he's got this device. It's really his place. I can see why him and the other Lokis might not want to leave, which is where I give it to you one take. Continue the conversation, man.
Hey man, you can stop that, man. You can tell that to somebody else, but there ain't no sunlight, ain't no women, there ain't no. It don't look like there's no good food. Everything you got to get to the food before a lion gets to it, and he eats everything. You can stop that, okay? Listen, Loki had the genius plan. One of the greatest plans put the paper or just ever spoken. I'm gonna sneak around back and I'm gonna kill it. Okay, wow. I'm gonna sneak around back with my daggers, maybe a sword, possibly. I don't know. Maybe I can find something else that just been like threw into the void. I'm gonna grab maybe a brick. I don't know. Maybe a brick. And we gonna take down this giant cloud that's about the size of a city. That is gonna be perfect. And you know what? OG Loki was like, yeah. Kid Loki was like, yeah. They even had my boy Alligator Loki there, just like, yeah. You know what? We can do it. We can do it. That's all we need. A couple sticks, maybe a brick, and a dagger or two. We got it. Terrible idea. The ship falls down. The ship, fully equipped to go to war, start sending bombs. Completely useless. Everybody on board that ship, when you first see them land, they were prepared. I'm just like, you see one guy literally standing like this, like, boy, the smithereens. About 5 seconds later, that man is screaming for his life. Like, he is straight up screaming for his life. They on the ground, they running. I don't know what they thought they were running to. Get out, abandoned ship, run.
Man, I'm crying, man.
I don't know what's going on with any of them, but like they should have thought better. Okay, they should have thought better. Immediately after Loki sees this happen, he's just like, man, maybe the daggers ain't gonna work. Maybe I just need a big stick. I don't know what he's gonna do after that either. It was funny though. I think that's probably what it was meant to be. It was funny and kind of like show you the threat of a life, obviously.
Yeah, man. One take. It's you was going to. Well, I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there. So basically, you saying you bring a knife to a gunfight is what you're saying.
I don't even know if you can say a gunfight. I don't even know. It's a knife to a nuke fight. Like, what are you doing? Like, no.
Elliot, tag you it. You can break it down. I don't know how you come behind that, but
yeah, man. One take is bringing it, man. In regards to this is just a silly idea. This was a dumb idea, top to bottom. And it took Sylvie coming into the mix to be like, you guys actually thought this was a good idea.
Yeah, man.
You guys belong together. You're in the right place. But no, the cool thing about the moment is going back to just little Easter eggs the show had to give us. This is a callback to just the show, just kind of rewriting history. We're dealing with time, so we got it in episode 1, revealing that Loki was actually DB Cooper that hijacked the plane and never was found by the FBI and still wanted to this very day. But in regards to the 173 USS Eldridge, this was a Philadelphia project, and the whole idea was a cloaking device. This was supposed to be an experiment. This was supposed to be something new and high tech in the 40s to win all wars, masking your cannon devices. And the show is giving us, well, we know what really happened to it. It ended up in the void. So I love that the show kind of gave us, again, this rewriting history in their own way, which is always cool. But yeah, that plan was just very idiotic. I have to say, maybe Loki got it from no disrespect to our Thor, but Thor sometimes has some bad ideas, and maybe Loki gets that from his brother Thor. The whole call for help thing that they do, and and all the stuff that Thor isn't Thor has these brothers are is not the smartest. So yeah, Loki, that was a good idea, my friend.
Well, the thing with Thor is Thor tends to use his bronze more than his brain.
Correct.
I think that's the nicest thing to say with Thor. But I don't know where Loki was going. Just thank God, and I'm coming to you one take. Thank God, Sylvie pops up, Mobius pops up, and when they're having the little discussion of what may have you, a discussion that I really enjoyed was OG Loki discussing with Mobius about the alligator. Do you guys recall Mobius said he does not remember the TVA ever getting the alligator, and that struck a chord with OG Mobius. And so one take, I'm gonna start with you. Just break down this whole scene from when Mobius shows up to Sylvie and Loki down here cuddling with his enchanted warm blankets. And then I've got a little clip for you guys that was an Easter egg. That is the Dark Aster from Ronin, his former ship.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, jump on in there one take, wherever you want.
Okay, first of all, we're gonna start off right when Sylvie and Mobius pull up, and we have this amazing moment in where Loki becomes a kid again, and like he sees his best friend You know, somebody he's really connected with. He runs down. He's super giddy. He like, hey, it's like he was shook a little bit, and like they didn't. It was he was so shook they didn't even embrace. He was just like super happy to see him. And obviously, him seeing Mobius for the first time since like he's been prone, and so Loki is kind of like ecstatic. He's on a high right now. You know what I'm saying? A little bit too excited, but you know, that's neither here nor there. And then we have the moment between those two just sitting down on like sitting on the hills. And he has his blanket, you know, and he makes a bigger blanket, but it's still not big enough where they have to be like separated. She has to get in a little closer to him, so we still get that connection. And he also brings up something interesting as far as like the Nexus event that they almost called, and both of them have kind of like this awkward moment where it's like, oh well, that's kind of just probably another one of the TVA's lies about because the Nexus event almost happened obviously when the planet was about to die, we're about to be destroyed, and those two like were having this kind of connection. So I think they're like, oh, well, maybe it's nothing. But even though that. You can tell that neither one of them actually believes that, simply because Mobius is like pretty much on their side. Now, going to what you talked about with Alligator Loki and Mobius now recalling like ever like doing it. That's something that's interesting. It stuck out to me as well. It's just I was kind of into myself like, what could that possibly mean? Because I watched the scene a couple of times, and then you have like you said, you have OG Loki over there thinking to himself like, if he don't remember this, like, what is this? Is this like maybe a ploy? Maybe it was like Alligator Loki put there, placed there, you know what I'm saying, for a certain reason. That's kind of like the only like branch I'm like grasping at right now, because I think that would be the only way. And it would be a good thing to do, because I mean, who's expecting that? Like, I mean, that's completely like out of like left field. But like, that's the only as far as that goes. That's pretty much where I'm at. I think like maybe Alligator Loki, as much as he's my boy, as much as he bought that action, might be a little spy. So I don't know.
Okay. Hey. There's never really any horrible theories, my brother. And that one sounds, hey, we can run with it. Elliot, talk about this whole scene. Pick it up anywhere you want to as we're nearing the end of this review.
Kind of going off of what Big Dog just brought up. That is interesting because this is, to my knowledge, I don't think Alligator Loki, this isn't comic book canon. This is an MCU created entity. So it would be something that would be nice to be surprised with, because there's no history with this alligator. And Big Dog brings up a good point. It's kind of having that observation, something to see what's going on, because when they prune them, they don't know what's going on. They don't have any jurisdiction in the void. So to have something like that would be interesting. And also it kind of speaks to Mobius a little bit, because this is kind of another example of not memory loss or not recollection to anything, but when he goes to Renslayer's office for the first time, he mentions the rings being on her table, and him like, I don't remember this being here, or whatever the case may be, and like, oh, that's from my other one. So it just kind of speaks again to this Mobius's mysterious aspect, and maybe figuring out who he really is from his past would be interesting. But I like that alligator situation. That'll be really interesting to see. But I think within this moment too, this was example 3 out of the episode for me with classic Loki. The signs pointing towards him having his glorious purpose. He sees what the Lokis can do one another, betrayal one another, not having trust in one another. So that was one example. Him seeing a Loki being happy to see another Loki, and showing that if you band together, maybe there is something good that can be done. And then having this conversation with Mobius, as he says, he asks him, what are you going to do when you go back to the TVA? He's going to burn it all to the ground. He's going to tell the truth. So that just shows classic Loki again. People can change. And I think that was just a great moment for that character to hear that. And of course, these two having the blanket moment was really, really nice too. So man, there's a lot of good stuff here, but I like that alligator situation. We'll be interested to see if that is something revealed next week.
Be able to jump on in there, my brother. I told you that alligator scene, that was the one that stuck for me too.
Yeah, I am kind of interested in the alligator scenario. So we'll see how that plays out. That is what's up right there. But going back to the blanket scene with Sylvie and Loki, I'm sorry, guys. I just have to be honest. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous, and it was a sappy, happy waste of time. I didn't get anything from this scene at all. I mean, I do agree with One Take Big Dog as far as all the puppy love is concerned, because he was like, you know, that type of happy. But excuse me, Loki, you done been too cool this whole MCU to be salivating at the mouth like this, man. So I just need you to dial it back for a second. But I did not like that blanket scene. I was frustrated, like, this is a waste of time. This is where we could be getting answers on who is the TVA. You know, that y'all could be talking to the other Lokis right now, getting more answers from them about where y'all are, but y'all are in separate groups or whatever. Now, I will go ahead and say, I will be honest with you guys. Y'all, listen to you guys talk tonight has made me like the episode a little bit more, especially when it comes down to classic Loki. I mean, I already felt that he went out like a G, but these scenes of dialogue, you know, especially this one right here between him and Mobius, it really didn't do anything for me when I first saw it the first couple of times, especially the blanket scene didn't do. I hated that. But I was just indifferent about the Mobius and the classic Loki scene. But you know, them just talking to him, putting everything in perspective, and kind of him to set himself up for his glorious purpose moment in the end, which I love. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that before until I heard y'all speak on it. So that is something that I do appreciate, you know, and respect. And it's slipping my mind right now exactly on what he said. Doing, oh yeah, like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna burn it to the ground. He's like, just like that, you're gonna abandon, you know, what your lifelong belief was. And he was like, hey, it's not too late for people to change. You know, I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. Y'all did highlight that. So that's what's up right there. So I still hate the blanket scene.
Oh, man.
But
destroying it.
But the other stuff or whatever has leveled up. So
Gotcha.
Ooh.
Okay. Let me shout out my super chatter. First, $20 to the brothers. He didn't leave a comment. And you know, when you super chat that level, you definitely get a video on this channel. I really appreciate that. Let me give you this one. It's not even Thanksgiving, but if you need to learn how to cook a turkey, I got a recipe for you.
Not dessert is type of carrot though. What's she gonna do that look? Got a little potato. She trying to stuff it up. Balls deep on y'all. Oh, no, girl, we is lactose. We all need all that cheese. Karen, just Uber Eats me. She's gonna try, look at her. She gonna cross her legs like it's on the motherboard at church. Girl, that shit ain't innocent. You done raped the whole turkey. Melted butter, baked for 4 hours. Oh, look at it.
Well, if you don't know how to cook,
Bro, I don't know what that was.
That was gross. Ugh, I would never eat.
it was a Doritos Locos turkey. That's it. You know, if you don't know how to cook for Thanksgiving, I'm trying to help you out.
There you go.
There you go.
You don't know how to cook, come holler at me, man. There you go.
Oh my goodness. Elliot, I'm coming your way now, man. So we to the grand finale. I'm gonna walk us through it. I'm gonna show you. We've already kind of talked about the Living Tribunal Easter egg. You saw the statue. This is the Living Tribunal straight out the comics. And like B. Avery said, we don't need to see him no time soon. No time soon. We don't need to see him. But the plan is put in place. They're looking on what they're going to do. Mobius and Loki, they hug each other. Mobius saying, you're my favorite Loki. Looking at Sylvie, but I'm sure this Loki thought he was talking about him. And Sylvie's got the grand plan of how they're going to defeat Elias is by enchanting him. And so they need to get a diversion. And Loki was trying to wave his little magical sword, Leviathan, all over the place, wasn't working. And that's when OG Loki shows up, comes to the rescue, jumps in there, and screams out as he sacrificed himself. Glorious purpose. My man Elliot, pick up anywhere on this finale, on this ending, wherever you want to go.
Yeah, this is again, this is the beauty of the show, is to show us what makes a Loki tick. Why is Loki's lonely? Why do they survive? Well, we see our classic Loki showing you all that within this one episode. And Richard E. Grant brings it all home with this scene here as he's conjuring up a whole Asgard, which just shows you again the powers of a Loki. When fear or death is at the door, it can do something and be heroic and save these other peoples to get the journey and get their job accomplished and to sacrifice himself, which this might be, foreshadowing to one of our Lokis doing this maybe in the finale potentially. But no, this moment was just amazing from a cinematography standpoint, to the score coming in again, having Richard E. Grant bringing it home. This was so powerful. I forgot this man was wearing this silly ass costume. That's how powerful. Like, we're watching this man. He's wearing this the whole entire episode. By the way, he pulled it off. And shout out to him for pulling this off, because again, this costume is ridiculous. But to see him do all that, and for our Lokis to see him do that, and not just our Lokis, but Kid Loki and maybe other Lokis on the planet saw this, we can maybe do something different. We can maybe be different than what what we're destined to be, which is destruction. But no, he shows that you can actually save one another. So this was just a great moment. And then leading into the two Lokis coming together, banding their powers together, and our Loki learning how to enchant something, which is great to see, and them having that little moment of seeing what's in that castle that I can't wait to see who's at that doorstep, which I think we all can assume that it is another Loki, because that is the name of the show. But there might be someone else controlling that Loki. But no, this was a Loki all alone. Definitely agree with you there. But no, this is a great finale to this episode. But shout out to, again, Richard E. Grant. Shout out to Marvel, bringing in this accomplished actor, an actor that's not hating on the Marvel projects and wants to actually be a part of this hype train. So yeah, this was a great performance, and they brought it home with this character here.
Oh man, yeah. B. Avery, anywhere you want to pick up with that, my brother.
Right on. Well, let's see. I have to touch on this. Just going back a little bit, it just still doesn't make sense to me why Kid Loki and Classic Loki wanted to stay when they had an opportunity to leave with Mobius. Like, me and one day Big Dog said, ain't no women, ain't no sun. The food is all raggedy. It probably stink. You're always on the run. You can go anywhere you want, and all of time and all of the multiverse. You don't even got to be a Loki no more. You can just dress up as a regular person and be on chill mode with powers. So that's just a bit weird to me. Now, as far as Classic Loki, conjuring up them powers, that was dope as hell. That was fire. I think I may watch that scene right after we end this broadcast again, because it was just that live. You know what I'm saying? I really did enjoy that. It doesn't get more comic booky than that.
Yeah.
It just, children, grown men, whatever, can stand in their living rooms in their underwear and reenact that scene and not feel a moment of shame or embarrassment. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I'm doing the Classic Loki, thing or whatever. It was a badass moment to me. And like Elliot said, that costume is ridiculous, but he made it work.
He did.
Not everybody can do that. Be
Avery, before you finish, let me make a quick point before I forget. Can you think of what Halloween this year is going to be like? Can you think of the toys Marvel is about to start? So from the alligator Loki to this the geriatric Loki costume.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. So that's all fire. I thought he was dead, but I think it was probably you, Lamont, or somebody was saying that you don't think he's dead.
No
was
way.
that you?
That was definitely me. No way he's dead.
Yeah,
no
I kind of believe you, because he did say that he faked his death with Thanos, conjuring up a fake thing of himself. So and he made a whole goddamn fake Asgard. So he could have. Yeah, that could be a what you call it right there itself. You know what I'm saying? And he could be over there behind the hill talking about, So I really think he still could be alive. I want him to come back. They could easily write that in. Marvel, if you're listening, you can, I'll give you that one for free. Now, I will say this though about them enchanting the beast or whatever, this kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's a cool scene, but it's the whole hierarchy of power. In my recap and in yours, we both talked about how powerful Elioth is, right? Or whatever the hell his name is. Elias.
Granny, you've said that name probably 20 times.
Elliot, he's trying to turn you into the villain of this episode.
Elias. That's it right there, right? Elias.
Yeah, that's it. Elias.
So Elias is supposed to be this badass cloud thing. So badass that even Kang the Conqueror is afraid of him. Kang didn't even want to expand his empire no more because of this thing right here. It was the first sentient being to break out of the constraints of time. And then these two unexperienced people, well, our Loki more than her, are able to just unlock the door that easily. I mean, that's kind of like
behavior. I'm with you because before you got here, me and One Take, and I think Elliot was in on that discussion. We was just like, look, how the hell you go from you can't even enchant Loki to now you're going to be able to enchant something that's this powerful?
I'm saying, bro, I forgot to mention that in my recap when I was done. I was like, damn, I forgot to talk about that. But I'm glad I'm talking about it now, man. Like, it's like, come on, man. Y'all need to do something with these power levels, you know?
Right.
Because that's just not good to me, to be honest.
No, I'm with you. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got 80 people in the chats. Can we get 80 likes? And can we get 80 new subscriptions to these brothers? They put out great content, and they're brothers, meaning that they put out great content. One Take, you get to wrap this whole thing up. Give us all your thoughts on this ending scene. The last word they hear about this series, I mean, this particular episode is on you.
I hope I won't disappoint. I'm gonna start off with like when Mobius was leaving. Me and B.A. were just pretty much still on the same. There's no way nobody would just chose to stay there. But I won't talk about in specific about them.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Nobody's staying there, Lamar. There's no way you can convince me.
You cannot do that and think me and Elliot can't rebuttal. And Elliot, you want me to go, or Elliot, would you like to go?
There's no rebuttal there would make sense.
What are you talking about, bro?
My man's killed his brother on his own planet. Badass right there. And now he's a king. Being that there's no women, it's a sausage party, but he's the king of his own land. And also, if he leaves, we talked about it. If he leaves, he's just gonna. I mean, it's just the stability. There's people that are higher than him. There's Avengers on other planets. He now has his own planet. There's no jurisdiction with the TVA. He can control
you're the king of toilets. Like, come on.
That's fine.
In the basement.
That's fine.
He lives in the basement.
There's no other place where these Lokis can go and be successful ruling anything. So if you might as well just rule the basement. And that'd be like me going to my mama's house saying, you know what? I don't pay the bills here, so I'm the king of the house. And she's like, you better take your little ass in that room. That's the only place
there's a whole multiverse you can go to.
And
you want to stay in the dumpster. Okay.
But look.
Hey, look at Sakaar, man. The Grand Master is a king of garbage. He has the champions of tournaments. I mean, hey, it's his kingdom. It's his world.
He don't got a purple cloud chasing him every morning.
No, but he has an anus that drops junk on his front door every day.
You can use
which is connected to the
multiverse. Use the drug that comes to the void because it gets destroyed by a lion.
And then we already know that they've got pizza in the void because we've seen the car Mobius got out of. So there's pizza somewhere.
You don't see actual pizza. I'm pretty sure when that pizza car got took, that whatever pizza was in there is spoiled by now. I don't know what you got going.
Go ahead, One Take. Go ahead.
Man. But I'm gonna go back to the scene where like Mobius is hugging Loki and he says you're my favorite. And of course, Loki probably thinks he's talking about him, but he's talking to Sylvie. But at the same time, I think it's because of what Sylvie was able to like open up in our Loki that he tells her that. Now, going back to my boy Richard E. Grant, OG Loki, and his big diaper, conjuring up Asgard, like that scene was like perfection. And y'all really got me thinking now that he might not be dead simply because this might have been, something else, another image that he conjured up, and we think that he got knocked off. But yeah, I thought that scene was fantastic. But I think you guys covered it enough. One thing I want to go to is something Behavior pointed out, and I think we all talked about, is the fact that these two Lokis able to enchant Elias. Now, while it is true that it's kind of hard to believe after like she wasn't able to enchant him, but I think there's more of a connection between Lokis. The Behavior, you would understand this more. Think about, we're going to take you back a little bit. Think about Dragon Ball Z real quick. When Babidi was able to control Vegeta, we know for a fact Babidi is nowhere near as powerful as Vegeta. But yet he was still able to get him under his control. And the only thing they needed to do was enchant Elias for a brief moment in order for him to open up basically the gateway to whatever. I mean, what's the name of the house?
The Citadel.
The Citadel. I mean, that's the only thing they need to do. You don't necessarily have to be stronger. You just have to like get the ups on them for momentarily.
I agree with you saying there. You don't necessarily got to be stronger, but the power gap is much wider from Elias and Sylvie opposed to Majin Vegeta and Babidi. Babidi was up there as far as the magic is concerned. Like this. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're trying. I mean, I do agree. Yeah, you don't have to be as strong, but that's too big of a power gap to me.
And one take for me, I keep going back to the same thing. She couldn't even enchant Loki, and Loki compared to Elias is like an ant compared to a boot. His quote to Nick Fury, but now y'all gonna team up and be able to enchant Elias, who is that powerful. That's where I'm coming from with it.
Trust me, I completely understand. I understand it. It's kind of a stretch, but okay, here's my thing, and I'm gonna go back to this. If who we believe is in the castle, which I think a lot of us think I think all of us on the panel think it's a Loki, right? This Loki was able to control Elias, therefore nobody can get to the Citadel. So the power of two Lokis, and we also know from something Loki said in this episode that we're a lot stronger than we get ourselves credit for. Those two together should be able to do it. That's if I'm holding out. That's if there's another Loki there. Because if there's another Loki there, we're gonna bring this back up next week. I'm be like, well, that Loki was able to do it. Two Lokis definitely could have done it.
I don't think it's a Loki in there though. That's just me.
Okay.
That's just me though. I don't have a better idea either. But just it'd be another Loki in there. I don't know. I don't think that's how it's gonna go down.
I'm still running with kind of the plot me and Elliot had, that there's a Loki in there, but there's a more powerful being controlling Loki and Elias, and I still think that there ain't but a handful of beings that powerful, and I think it's probably Beyonder controlling Loki, who is in the Citadel right here.
Yeah, we did this. This week is going to be a long week. I think all of us have been waiting for so long to see who's behind the TVA.
We wait.
Like now we got this. It's like okay.
Well, the question
I just hope they don't. Go ahead.
Do you think they can disappoint us?
Yes.
Like
100%.
Yes.
Bro, big time, bro.
The last two finales for me in WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier have been hasn't been as promising as the previous episodes. So yeah,
exactly. I agree with that. I think we get our. I think a lot of times we get our like our expectations like pretty high, and every time it's like, no, it's not that deep. And I understand that from like storytelling, but it's like sometimes it's like you kind of gotta go big sometimes, and that's what I'm hoping to do. Because I agree with Elliot. I like for Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision, neither one of their finales is my favorite episodes of those series at all.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But how can I say this without it sounding bad about Marvel? I would say that when you have a power level this succinct. You're talking timelines meeting multiverses. There's no way in hell you can have a weak character at the helm of all that. Is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
I can understand how it happened in WandaVision. I can understand that. I can understand how we got disappointed in Falcon Winter Soldier. But neither scenario had something this powerful that controls not just one universe, but something at the helm of all the multiverses.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, I would say it would look bad on Marvel if they didn't really reveal something big that's going to lead somewhere else down the road. When you're talking the whole multiverse, the whole multiverse. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
To that point, I'll say this, and this is key for just looking at this show. You know, WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, no disrespect to those characters, but they're not legacy characters within our MCU timeline, right? Loki was the big bad that the Avengers went against, right? So him having his own show just speaks to the scale of what we can maybe expect for this finale, that if we have this character that fought the Avengers on the big screen to have his own show, I would hope that he has a good conclusion. I hope he has a bigger bad behind him, because our Loki, the big bad behind him, was Thanos, who's the big bad behind this show. So I'm hoping that is the show has that in mind, that this is a big show. This is a big character. This is not a character that we've met in Age of Ultron and all that stuff and Falcon, but this is a character that set up the Avengers, that he has to have a good conclusion. This is essentially the first villain that the Avengers have fought as a team. So I'm hoping that we get that next level of who is behind the curtain. It's not a letdown. It's not a Ralph Boner joke at the end of it.
Or a cat scratch.
Cat scratch. Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm worried about.
Now you got me thinking, big dog. They have let us down before, man. They go for the punchline sometimes, but I'm hoping that they stick the landing, man. That's the hope.
B. Avery, I got a super chat with your name all on it. When is your next live show, Brandon? And is Larry going to be there? I like to make a considerable. He didn't say minute. He didn't say minor. He didn't say subsidiary. He said considerable contribution.
Well, first, Infinite Science, thank you so much for the super chat, on Lamont's channel, and showing so much love and concern. I really do appreciate it. So thank you. The next time I will be going on live will be this Sunday, 6:30 CST, 6:30 p.m. my normal movie news roundup show. As far as if Larry is going to be there, I'm not sure. I'm going to send him an invitation, but on my channel, I never really confirm my guest. I do sometime, because just to be honest, everybody's tired and has 1,000 things to do, and I don't like to really bother people. So I have everybody's email. I just send it to them with the topics that we're going to talk about, and if they show up, they show up. And Larry, he shows up quite often. He wasn't available this past Sunday, and so to answer your question, I'll be going live this Sunday again. Larry will receive the invitation, but I'm not able to confirm if he will be there or not. That's just this is how I guess it works over here. So
Infinite Science, show up anyway. It's good content. Either way you look at it. And we had 2 other super chats I'm going to address, and we'll let you fellas up out of here because we got to get some rest. Ernest Holloway, $5. I'm sorry, but 2 things. 1, I believe she learned his tricks, talking about Loki. 2, I believe that the female Loki will betray Loki. Anybody want to say anything about that?
Okay. She might, but back to I'm kind of gonna tie in another scene with this.
Yeah.
As far as like the scene that Behavior hates, the blanket scene, there was like some interesting dialogue in there.
Wow.
It kind of like alluded to like maybe one of them might not make it out of this, because they were both talking about what they're gonna do
afterwards.
Yes, I don't think. Yeah, I think somebody's not gonna make it. It's probably gonna be her.
It's a great point,
man. They was getting that stuff together, man. Like I thought they was about to talk about having kids after that whole thing, which made me feel like you said somebody probably not going to make it out of all that.
Yeah,
and
because they were talking about like chilling together after that. Right. I'm like, it don't usually go this way.
Yeah, happy ending.
Right. You only get that at. Let me shut up. Last super chat. We got Eric Kirby. Hey guys, with Space Jam 2 coming out soon, can you name your b-ball team made up of cartoons from your kids' days and no Looney Tunes characters?
Jubei from Ninja Scroll,
Mhm.
the man guy from Yu Yu Hakusho, Goku, Samurai Jack,
Start 5.
and Tony the Tiger.
Ooh, it's a nice little squad, man.
Man,
One take. Who you got?
tripping.
Who you
Nice
got?
little
One take.
squad.
Listen, I got Johnny Bravo at the center.
Johnny
I got
Bravo.
Ed from Ed and Netta at the power forward because like he got that. Okay, I'm not gonna say. We got Gerald from Hey Arnold running the point guard.
God
Okay.
almighty.
We got number 1 from Kids Next Door running the 2. He the shooting guard. And coming in at the 3, I'm probably gonna take Mojo Jojo because
Yeah.
yo, we got this. What y'all talking about?
Mojo Jojo.
We
Fire
got it.
squad. It's a fire
Elliot,
squad, man.
Gotta
Woo.
give us your squad, my brother. Who you got?
Oh man, cartoons growing up. So I gotta go with the point guard, the point god. I gotta go with Batman. He's the strategy. He's the point. He's the Batman out there. Then I gotta go with the young gun, the shooter. I gotta go with Spider-Man. Shooting nose. He's my shooting guard.
Like it. Like it.
Small forward, normally known for defense. Who's a good defender? I'm gonna go with He-Man. Defending, blocking everything, keeping everything in order. Power forward. Who has some power? I'm gonna go with Goku. I mean, he's a powerful being. Yeah, he's a powerful individual.
Over Superman.
Ooh.
Yes.
See,
Ooh.
Superman can be the power forward.
He could, but I'll have Superman coming off the bench. He's our sixth
What?
man. And then
Get him out of here.
let's see,
What?
center. Who's coming in? Who's grabbing the boards for me? I'm pretty sure Shaq has been on a cartoon. Let me just go with the Shaq. Let me go with the Diesel. Kobe, pass me the ball. Kobe, pass me the ball. I'm gonna go with Shaq, man. He's a cartoonist, something I would imagine.
Amazing, man. Good conversation. And we're gonna end you guys on this right here, man. In the post-credit scene, the only thing they switched up this week was just the pictures. And so they just got all the different Lokis on the TVA's desk so that we know that they're aware. But fellas, I'm about to get sad because next week is the end. Unless we come together and link up for something else.
We got power on July 18th.
You know what? I completely forgot. So you know what? It's not the end. We'll all be back together for power. And so, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to subscribe to these gentlemen's channel. Be sure to give me a like. There's 75 left. Everybody hit the thumbs up. Go subscribe to everybody's channel. They all put in lots and lots and lots of work. So check their links in my video description or my related channels discussion. And until that next Sex is Hell video, which will be Friday when I have one of the stars of The Shy joining us for a discussion. We'll see you.
Goku can be Superman.
God, see, don't you hate it when